everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to do an art journal tutorial and we are going to do some negative painting. So I'm starting in my 7x10 Canson Mixed Media art journal page. The page has been taken out of the coils and it has been gessoed. And I am putting deep violet, that's on the left, and orange, and I'm mixing them wet and wet so that you get those middle tones created by combining these colors. And I know these colors are going to make a nice color because I've played with them previous. I grabbed some yellow ochre and I'm mixing that next to the orange and getting another shade. I'm going with deep, rich, fall inspired colors. And then I'm coming in with more quinacridone magenta and blending that with the yellow. So you're getting some shades. Now I'm not quite happy with the depth of the color, so I'm coming in with more color and deepening the colors over time. I wanted a little bit more variation in here, so right away I'm going to be adding dioxazine purple. The deep violet was too much similar to the quinacridone magenta. I'm applying this with a makeup sponge. I'm moving this in here because I want this color all over instead of just kind of stripes. Changing as I progress through this page. So there's the dioxazine purple, and I will build that up. I'll add a few more layers of it, and I love the darkness that it's giving me. So you could use any colors. You don't have to use the colors that I'm using, but you want to make sure that those colors are going to make pleasant colors when they're mixed. And if you're not sure, do some on the side. I'm doing a little bit of stamping with my Elegant Script stamp and archival ink. I'm just going to give that a moment to dry before I go on. I'm going to now start layering all the different patterns. I grab bright aqua and I'm using the screen view stencil here, and this is such a lovely pop of color against those background colors. It really shows up well. The bright aqua is also very opaque, so it is going to show. So the colors that I'm stenciling now, I want to select paints that are more on the opaque side so that they do show. Now I'm using my dot stamp, one of my favorite stamps, and I'm putting Prussian blue on my glass mat here. My entire tabletop is glass. I'm spreading that out, and I'm just going to stamp into that and stamp that Prussian blue on there. Again, I'm going all over. And this is the kind of background you will want to create when you do the negative painting, in my world anyways. I want different parts of this to look different, and that's going to allow different parts of the, when I do the negative painting, to show. I'm loving the look of this. This stencil is called Hole Punch, and I'm using white on here. I'm not getting enough white on here. I wish I had, gone a little bit slower and got it to be more opaque. I'm not trying to make the background perfect all the way, the same on all the different parts. And while I said this background is great for doing the negative painting technique, this would also be good for putting if you have a black and white focal image. This one is called Knitted Stitch. And I'm coming in with some dioxazine purple, which isn't quite as opaque as some of the others, so it's very faint, but I wanted a little bit of that knitted stitch pattern to go with my theme of with sweaters. It's the first day of fall and it is sweater weather, and it feels so good to pull those out. This color is Naples Yellow. It's opaque. And I'm doing a little bit of stenciling with that knitted stitch. And I'm trying to target areas where I know that it's going to show up, on the purples, on the pinks. It won't show up as much if I put it on where there's orange underneath. So I got some sweater printables. I searched, then I ended up, it was straight across the top, and I cut the U shape around the neck, and I cut 3 tracers out, and I'm just tracing it with my Stabilo All pencil. Now the Stabilo All pencil activates with water, so you have to be mindful of that later on, because if you go over this with matte medium or any other wet medium, it will smudge. It will reactivate and smudge. I should have grabbed my Inktense pencil, because once it's activated, it becomes permanent and you're going to have less likelihood of it smudging. I want this sweater to be on top of that one, so I'm finishing it. Now I'm going to do the negative painting, and basically I'm going to be shading around the negative space on the sweater. So I'm going to activate this Stabilo All pencil. Now sometimes with negative painting, you paint out the entire background, the negative space. So everything but the sweaters would have been painted a color. And I do that later on in a very subtle way. But first I'm bringing out the sweaters by using my angle brush and acrylic paint and using my shading technique. I'm using black acrylic paint here, and I will come back to each one to make it darker. What I want is the sweater to pop out from the background. So that knitted stitch stencil is perfect for a page with sweaters. But you haven't seen the last of it. We're going to use it again later on. So I'm turning my page as I shade. You turn it however you best work. So there we have 2 sweaters, and now I'm going to be working on sweater number 3. 3, 5 odd numbers always look more pleasing to the eye on a page. And I thought about doing 5 on this 7 by 10, but I thought that was a little too scrunched in. I do have a video where I specifically teach this shading technique, and I will link to that video if you're interested. That'll be in the iCards in the top right hand corner. So here I'm going to go back after it dries a little bit and add more shading just to bring out the sweater. And I'm going to shade around the exterior of my page, just to frame it. This was quite a quick page. In its entirety, it took me about 40 minutes. But I already had the templates cut and I had my sentiments selected. Now here's where the negative painting comes in. I am doing a very light wash of white gesso that has been thinned, and then I'm patting it back. So I want to still see all that lovely stenciling and layering that we have in the background, but I want to subdue it a little bit just so the sweaters themselves are the focal points and they're more vibrant. So I've just chosen to do a light wash. I could have taken the aqua, which is typically what I do, and paint out all that negative space, the non-sweater space. Or you could use a different color. I cut out the phrase sweater weather in several different fonts, and I chose to put it down 3 times. 3 sweaters, 3 sentiments. And I'm gluing that down with my fluid matte medium. And I'm being careful with the Stabilo All pencil. I don't want to go put any of the matte medium on there because it'll smudge, and then I will get that all over the top of my sentiments. I grabbed my Posca pen in black, and I'm going to add some of the ribbing around the collar, the cuffs, and the bottom of the sweater. I did try to do it with white, and it just didn't look right in my mind. And I'm really liking the way this Posca pen is looking, outlining it, and so I decide to outline the entire sweater. It just makes it stand out a little bit more from the background than what I had. And then I'm outlining all the sentiments as well with the black. I love the rich fall colors of this page. So the colors that I used were deep violet, orange, quinacridone magenta, dioxazine purple, and yellow oxide. I thought I was done, but I decided to make a border with the Knitted Stitch stencil, and I'm using white paint, and it's just a very quick way to make a fun border that really ties in with the entire theme. I didn't have a whole lot of room, but I made it work. I didn't originally have this idea when I arranged the orientation of the composition of my page. I'm just going to heat up the tape, and that will help release it, and it won't rip the paper off. And there we have our finished page. I hope you love it. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, ask me a question. Until next time, go get creative.